to see the new part from the bridge that we're going out to Jerez. On the way back, you will see the difference in between the new and the old part. Here on the right used to be the old tobacco factory. You know, when America was discovered, lots of tobacco, and the tobacco came from America. Rent property in Cadiz capital, as it's very small and it's very expensive to, you know, and there are bars in Jerez, restaurants, bars in Jerez, they call it tabancos. The reason why they call it tabancos is because you can purchase from the barrel. They used to travel looking for, you know, better places, but they stay here all day. When I started to work here, you know, I lived in the UK for 32 years. I worked for an airline, so I traveled a lot. People are saying, oh. I think she said that, but I wasn't 100% sure. £60 here. I guess it would look a bit weird. Well, they're planted purposefully, I expect. They're sitting down but not having a picnic. Because it had sort of slightly warmed up when we left, hadn't it? And then, it's got cold again. Look at the salt from another perspective. Control, especially 50 years injecting myself, and it's the first time my diabetes is under control.
Welcome.
crazy person for the next 2 hours and a half. You will have to put up with me for the next 2 hours and a half, unless you want to throw me overboard, of course. Now, and my name is Paula. I'm in love with her. This woman, she was so beautiful that she didn't want to know about these men. Until the day, you know the drill goes, until the day that Prince Charming comes along, and I'm talking about Ulysses, the Greek hero. Now, Ophelia looked at him, and she felt immediately in love. 365 windows, one for each day of the year. We used to roll up the cables to our ships here. Nowadays, it's an exhibition center. It was built during the 18th century, as well by the Marquis of Pombal, the Prime Minister, at the time of the earthquake. Manuel Nino, it's due to our King Manuel I. He was the richest man in the world at the beginning of the 16th century. It conciliates the Gothic with the Romantic and some nautical motifs. He's one of our most experienced captains. He has at least 5,000 tours. I mean, he's so experienced that when NASA discovered water on Mars, they invited him to drive the first yellow submarine on Mars. 2 buoys on the back. Oh, you don't need to look at the buoys, sir. Do you know why? Because the left buoy, it's for me. Welcome to the river, my friends. I'll ask you to unfasten your seatbelts during the time we are in the river. If you wish to throw somebody overboard, this is the moment. Of Prince Henry the Navigator, which is at the bow of the monument with the big funny head, and for some reason, if you look closely, it looks a lot like Freddie Mercury. I mean, they all look a lot like Freddie Mercury. Now, he was the mastermind behind the Portuguese discoveries. Besides Prince Henry, we have 32 sculptures in this monument. Left side, we have painters, writers, sculptors, scientists, and a single lady. So let me tell you the entire story. Lisbon used to be robbed by pirates all the time. So the king, he had a ship with cannons placed in the middle of the river to defend Lisbon from the pirates. It was a fortification, like I said. The windows down, they had cannons that could hit the south bank of the river. Later on, it was a foreigners will start to speak Portuguese. Bad Portuguese, my friends. Seatbelts fastened, we'll see the building, which looked like a cruise ship from the river, and from shore it only looks like 2 ships connected by a transparent tunnel. Actually, a couple of months ago they had to place a sign under the tunnel saying, "No skirts allowed." And why? Because the scientists, they spent most of their time looking up. But actually, it was when the board of directors decided. So, as I was saying, you need to try some traditional Portuguese products like ginginha and also pastéis de Belém or Belém custard pies. And what is it? Now, it's not a cups. Mark, he bought them all. With open arms, It's Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic. Actually, it's our King Christ, you know that very well. So our King Christ, it was inaugurated. Look at the bright side of life. So in the bridge, probably you saw the 1755 earthquake. This is the biggest example of Baroque style here in Lisbon. Caravella in our pavement, I will explain to you in a couple of minutes how this pavement just appeared. So here we have the port wine region, which was implemented by the Marquis. You can see the grapes coming out of the baskets, symbolizing obviously not only the port wine but also the Portuguese wine. On the back, that's the Roman goddess of wisdom, Minerva. She's guarding the gates of our first university, Coimbra. Coimbra, we call it the student city. It's a city in the center of Portugal. It was founded in the 13th century. Here we have the glass industry represented. And that half-naked woman there, she symbolizes Lisbon reborn, Lisbon rebuilt, Lisbon free from the debris, free from the destruction, free from the t-shirt. Liberty Avenue, our Champs-Élysées. Oh, Champs-Élysées, para para pa. Oh, Champs-Élysées, para para pa. Au soleil, sous la pluie, à midi ou à minuit, il y a tout ce que vous voulez aux Champs-Élysées. And why? Because the architect went to Paris or Champs-Élysées. I mean, they said, now we darling, only in traffic during the week. The birds in the trees, they are made of recycled paper and they were used for Christmas lights. Because we are Portuguese and we take a long time because of the sun and some other cultural reasons. Inspired by the Romans, which became more dramatical black and white, and it spread it all over 17 countries, making the most famous places. Calçadão, coming from the word calçada. Calçadão, it means a huge calçada. In Brazil and Copacabana in Rio de Janeiro, and also John Lennon Memorial in Central Park. Sintra, which is UNESCO World Heritage and 20 minutes away from Lisbon. It's a magical, which is the biggest Gothic monument in Lisbon. If you check the trees on top of